This is called completing the square continued. What's this, section 9.5? I think it's 9-5 continued. Continued. That's how you do it. Continued. Completing the square. And completing the square. So I already gave you one good example of completing the square. Now, in a parabola, which, and most of whenever you have a an x squared term, if you have a parabola of the form y equals ax squared plus bx plus c, there's a way to convert this into something called vertex form, right? Vertex form. Okay. And what that looks like is y equals a x minus h squared plus k. Okay. This hk is the vertex, meaning if I were graphing any parabola and I put it in vertex form, this point down here, that has the coordinates h comma k. And that's called the vertex. Okay? And this is called vertex form. Yes, sir?
What does that say after 9-5?
9-5. Continued. 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 Completing the square. Parabola ax squared plus bx. Vertex form looks like y equals x minus h squared plus k. We're not really going to have ones, I don't think, that have a's in them. That gets a little more complicated. But if you do, well, you can still do it. But I don't think I have any like that. Find the vertex. So if I have, so for example, say I have the parabola y equals x minus 3 squared plus 2. Where would the vertex of this parabola be? If that's a point hk. Where would the vertex of that parabola?
0 minus 3.
Not at 0 minus 3. No, that's the y-intercept. Or that's something else.
2, -3.
This is h. This is k. So where would it be?
-3, 2.
Not at -3 because it's x minus h. So it would be at positive 3, positive 2. Okay? So if I were graphing this parabola just by looking at it in this form, and I also know that it's a right side up parabola because everything's positive, this parabola is going to go through this point 3, 2. Okay? So when I put a parabola into vertex form, it's very easy to sketch it. All you need is like one other point, like the y-intercept. What would be the y-intercept in this case? Oh no, it wouldn't be 2 because if I plugged in 0 in here, then I would get the y. So it would be 0 minus 3 squared would be 9 plus 2 would be 11. Okay? Minus, but we'll talk about that later. What if I had this? Y equals x plus 1 squared minus 4. Where would be the vertex of this parabola? If this is, so look at the formula, it's minus h. So if this is plus, what did h have to be?
-1.
Very good. It had to be -1. And what's k?
4.
-4. Okay, so the thing inside, it's opposite of the sign. So if this is plus, it means the vertex was negative. And if this is negative, you just leave it. So this one, this particular parabola, it has a vertex of back 1 and down 4, like that. And again, this one's uphill, so it looks like this. And I could even tell you if I plugged in 0 in here, because this gives you the y-intercept, what's 1 squared? What's minus 4? 1 minus 4 is what? -3. So if I put in 0 in here, I get out -3, which tells you that's the y-intercept. See? And now I know the y-intercept and I know the vertex, so I can sketch 1/2 of that parabola going in either direction. You see? So that's a nice thing to have. So putting But now we're going to use completing the square to put a parabola into vertex form. And it's not as bad as you might think. It's worse. Okay? No, I'm just kidding. Okay? So, so find the vertex. Find. That's not a good color. Maybe like dark green. How come it's not giving me dark green? There we go. Find the vertex for y equals x squared plus 6x plus 8. So what you're trying to do is get this into vertex form. Right? Your first step should be, so I'm not going to worry about this right here, the y. I'm going to bring this over onto this. So I'm going to set this equal to 0. Okay? So who could tell me what to do first if I were completing the square?
Minus 8.
Subtract 8. Minus 8. Minus 8. You bring the constant onto the right side. Okay? So now I have x squared plus 6x. This goes away. Equals negative 8. Now I have to complete the square. Complete this square. Oh, you know what? Well, I think we're just going to leave it. We don't have to bring that 8 on. When you're doing it to find the vertex, you just leave everything on the left side of the equation. Okay? Because I'm not really trying to solve it. I'm just trying to get it into vertex form. So I'm just going to complete the square on this part. What's half of 6? 3. Plus 3 squared, right? I still have a plus 8 over here. Now, in this case, I've added something to this side of the equation. Who could tell me what I've added? What have I added to the left side of my, what have I added over here? Who said that? Grace said that. Very good. She said I've added 9, right? I have y equals x plus 3 squared plus, if I FOIL this out, right? X plus 3 times x plus 3. I know you don't like doing this, and you don't have to do this. You get x squared. 3x times 3x makes 6x. But I have added a 9 to it, right? By doing this, by completing the square. So what do I need to do to get rid of that 9?
Minus 3x.
9 minus 3x minus what? I need to minus 9. I need to take away 9 because I've added 9 by rewriting it like that. See? Oh, okay. So now, so this number is, if this is b, okay, this number is the negative of b over 2 squared, okay? Right? Because b over 2 would be 3, b over 2 squared would be 9, and I've added negative b over 2 squared. Okay? Then I rewrite this. Y equals x plus 3 squared. What's minus 9 plus 8? Negative 1. So here, now I have the parabola. Y equals x plus 3 squared minus 1. Where's the vertex? Vertex. Negative 3, comma, negative 1. You follow that? Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, with the negative b2 squared, can you just do that again? Because I just
Yeah, so if I have x squared plus 6x plus 8, right? This is b, right? So b over 2 equals 3, right? B over 2 squared equals 9, right? I want negative b over 2 squared, which is negative 9. See? So what I do is I take half of whatever that middle term is, and I square it, and then I make it negative. And that's what I subtract, or that's what I add to my completing the square. Okay? So it's a little tricky, but you can do it. Just follow the steps. So let's try again. Should we try again?
Sure.
Sure. Okay. Find the vertex. Find. Who can do this? Who thinks they can do this? I don't believe you. Let's do it in this bright red. Oh, look at this. A nice. Ooh, what color do you call that? What color is that? Burgundy. I think that's called garnet. Is that a garnet? What color would you call it? X squared. You know, when I was in high school, our you know how we're the Monarch Coyotes? When I was in high school, our team was, I went to Rye High in Rye, New York, and our mascot was Garnet, which is a stone. Okay, we're named after a rock. Okay, we were the Rye Garnets. We had a big G on our helmet. Okay, okay. Anyway, okay. So,
Mr. Leader, did you play football?
I did. I was the star. Wait, I have to tell you a little story. Okay, so who's going to tell me how to do this? What's half of 4x? 2. Okay, so I'm just going to go x plus 2 quantity squared. Then what do I subtract? I just take away this squared, which is 4. Okay, but there's still a minus 6 over here. So then I have to combine those two terms. Alright? So I have y equals x plus 2 quantity squared minus 10. And so where's the vertex? Y equals
Minus 2.
very good. Minus 2 comma negative 10. That's all there is to it. It's not that hard, is it? One more time. What's wrong?
Why is it minus 4?
Why is it minus 4? Okay, again, so I'm just rewriting this exact same thing in a different form, right? Okay? So if I expand this, x plus 2 squared, that's equal to x squared plus 4x plus 4. If I FOILed it out, that's what I get, right? In order to keep this equation having exactly the same, I have to take away 4, see, minus 6. So if I simplify this, look, I get the exact same thing as I have over here, see? Okay? So the vertex would be at negative 2 positive 10. That's enough for now. Last thing, okay? Sorry, last thing, no yawning. We're going to change to a nice blue. And our rivals were the blue, no they weren't. Okay. I'm just making that up. Our rivals were the Huskies.
The Blue Rocks.
The
Huskies?
Yeah. The Harrison Huskies. Solved by completing this one. Um, 2x squared plus 4x minus 8 equals 20. Okay? So you see something like it. So this will A, help show you, like if you see something like this, what you do with it. And B, it'll give you a little sense of what's the difference between completing this square to find the vertex and completing the square to solve. Okay? Who can tell me something I could do to everything in this equation?
Divide by 2.
Very nice. I can always divide everything by 2. So you say, I don't know how to complete the square. It's got a 2 in front of the x squared, and that would mess me all up. There are ways to do that, but in this case, it's nice. And all the ones you're going to see in your homework, you can divide them all by something. And as long as I can divide them all by the same thing, I will get an equivalent expression. So I'm going to divide that by 2. That gives me x squared. This gives me 2x. This gives me minus 4. This gives me 10, right? Who can tell me what to do next? if I'm solving it. I'm not finding the vertex, I'm solving it by completing the square. Grace?
Subtract, add 4.
Good. I want to get the constant when you're finding the vertex, you don't need to do this step, but when you're completing the square, you need to get, when you're solving, you need to get the constant term on the right side. So now I have equals 14. That goes away. Who can tell me what to do next? Go ahead, Orion.
Put x plus 2x in parentheses.
Not x plus 2x, x plus what?
1.
Half of that.
1.
1, okay?
And then
1 squared.
And then add
How much have I added to this side of the equation when I did that? I've added 1. So to keep it even, I could subtract 1 over here, which will what you do if it were in vertex form, but I'm going to add 1 to the right side. See? Okay? So now I have x plus 1 squared equals 15. This is where everyone gets messed up. How do I solve? Square root both sides. Square root that side. Square root that side. Don't forget you have a plus and a minus. Okay? So you have x plus 1 equals positive square root of 15, or x plus 1 equals negative square root of 15. I am going to subtract a 1 from both sides. Subtract 1, subtract 1. Whoops, I forgot to subtract 1. Subtract 1. Now when I write this, I think I told you guys, I want to write the negative 1 before the square root of 15 because it's just easier to do on my calculator. And this gives me x equals negative 1 minus the square root of 15. And then they might ask you to the nearest tenth. So you would take your calculator. Ooh, look at that. Isn't that cool? Okay? And you'd go, you'd hit this, and you'd go negative 1. This is almost the same as just a graphing 1. Plus the square root, and your calculators have buttons like this, plus the square root of 15, which gives you about 2.9 about, and this answer would give you negative 1 minus the square root. Whoops, I hit square. Minus the square root of 15. Okay? And that one gives you about negative 4.9. Okay? If you're rounding off to the nearest tenth. So those are your two answers. That would also be where that parabola across the x-axis. And that's it. Okay? So that's all I'm talking about. I'm going to tell you that your homework is the same page continued. Okay? So it's page, and you can get a start on that while I'm passing stuff back to you. Page 579, 20 through 36 evens. Page 579. Let's just do 20 through, keep it simple, right? That's 8 problems, evens. And then actually there's 2 more you're supposed to do. Oh, I didn't do the word problem. We'll worry about the word problem another day. 33, should we worry about the word problem?
No.
We'll worry about it when we'll
Yeah,
go over it at the beginning of class tomorrow. 33, and try to do what you can. 33 and 43. 33 I think is a workaround. So give that a shot. We're done. I'm going to pass you back some papers. Pass back some papers.